Welcome to Of Sound Mind and Spirit. I'm Shelley.
And I'm Lisa. We're sisters walking together on a journey of faith. We're not perfect.
And we definitely don't have all the answers. We're inviting you to walk with us as we explore ways we can better know and grow in our faith together. Welcome back to another episode from Of Sound Mind and Spirit. Hi, I'm Shelley.
And this is Lisa.
And today we have a special treat.
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to introduce myself yet or not.
Perfectly fine.
It's okay. It's okay. We're all good. It's all good. We've got Rebecca Martin with us today.
Rebecca Martin is a lay Dominican, a lifelong Catholic writer and editor. She is the author of Meet Sister Mary Margaret from OSV Kids and Love in the Eternal City, a Swiss Guard romance from Chrism Press. Rebecca serves full-time as acquisitions editor at OSV and freelances for Chrism Press and the Central Province Lay Dominicans. She lives in Michigan with her husband and has too many cats. And Rebecca being found on Instagram and at RebeccaWmartin.com. There we go. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thanks. It's so good to be here with you guys.
And now I'm immediately curious, how many cats is too many cats?
3.
Yeah.
It's only 3, but it's too many.
Oh, I said that doesn't sound like too many.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Let me rephrase this. It's too many litter boxes to clean.
Oh, okay. You put it
That's
that
really
way. I
what
get
it is. If I didn't have to worry about those, I could have any number of cats.
Yeah, no, I get. We had cats growing up. I get that.
Yeah.
You open the door and you let them outside.
And then you have to let them back inside with whatever bugs they brought with them. So.
Yeah.
That's true.
No, but I have 3 very cute cats, and they're usually all over the computer, which is one reason why I'm sitting outside today. That, and it's a lot cooler in Michigan than it is down in Texas.
Oh, should I even ask what the temperature is?
It's actually a little toasty at the moment. It's about 85.
Oh, it's higher than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it was beautiful last week, and then we had a weird little spike in heat and humidity this week. So it's like, okay, fine.
Okay,
it's okay. It's down here now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've got a high of 97 today. So
y'all have fun with that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Unless you're in the church. If you're in the church, it's a high of about 72 with the air conditioning blowing.
Yeah, I was at a coffee shop this morning and ended up freezing and coming home because it was just too cold with the AC. The in-between season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, today, Rebecca, we've invited you to come onto the podcast because of your book, Love in the Eternal City. Thank you for having a copy because all I have is my Kindle.
Well, that and then the fact that I realized my nails match the cover.
Look at you.
Time, so,
That's perfect.
Did you take a picture of it and post it on Instagram like Barb in Nebraska? She always does her nails matching her book covers.
Ooh. I have a close friend who does really good nails, and she did a special manicure for my book launch that matched Elena's dress and then a little bit of the uniform. So that was fun.
Oh, how
so yes, I am that girl.
That's perfect.
Okay. So the first question I really have for you about this book is, where did you come up with this idea?
Okay, I love telling. I don't know if I love telling this story or if it's slightly embarrassing. So I was reading a bunch of clean Christian romance, and I had just read enough of them that I knew what the formula was. I'd figured out, okay, there's obviously a formula. This is how it works. I wonder if I can do that. So I sat down and I started writing. Well, somehow in my brain, what came out was also the experience I had as a student in Rome, because I lived in Rome for a semester in college, and there's always this mystique around the Swiss Guards. And there's inevitably one girl every year that ends up dating a Swiss Guard. It's just the way it works. Every college student, every college girl, Catholic ones at least. I mean, they're cute, Catholic, and in uniform. What more can you ask for? So somehow
I saw them when I was there. If I wasn't my age, I totally get it.
I know. So I just sort of started playing with it. And so it just sort of spiraled from there. It wasn't any sort of flash of, I want to write a Swiss Guard romance. No, it was I wonder if I can write a romance. And then was I wonder if I could write it in Rome. And then I was Swiss Guards. And this is just what happened. And the fact that I had to then spend the next several months of my life telling people, and still have to tell people, that my debut novel is a romance about an American girl and a Swiss Guard. I had to get over so much like embarrassment. It's ridiculous. Like,
That's awesome.
I'm not writing high fantasy here.
I do have to tell you, I've heard that story before about picking up a genre and just testing it out to see if you could do it. And the author of that is named Diana Gabaldon, and she has an Outlander series now.
Oh, that one.
So,
I didn't realize I'm following in good footsteps then.
and I'm not saying it because hers are definitely not Catholic friendly,
not clean romance.
Okay, do not go there if you want clean romance. But I say that because she does have a very expansive franchise with it now. She became extremely popular from her little experiment of, can I write this?
I know, it was so funny because I was, freelancing with Chrism. And so I said, hey guys, I'm working on this thing and there's no way you would actually want to publish it. And they're like, give it to us now. So I was like, okay, are you sure? And they're like, yes, please finish the draft. So I finished the draft.
That's awesome.
And then it went from there.
I'll bet. I started reading it, and I've already explained to you off recording how far I got and why. But I want to tell our listeners that Love in the Eternal City follows a student who is returned to Rome.
Student. She's not actually a student. She's young adult. Yeah.
There you go.
You know what? You tell it. I'll just let you tell it. Tell us what it's about.
Make me practice my elevator pitch.
There you go.
So Elena is a young American girl who has gone through quite a lot in the past year before moving to Rome. She's had her former fiance run off with her best friend, and lost her job. And so she's moved to Rome to start a new life and ends up meeting a Swiss guard and his younger sister. Said Swiss guard is dealing with his own stuff as far as discerning like how long he wants to be in the guard, and he's got some family issues going on. And so the two of them start this romance and just kind of are, they're both really healing and growing together. And they also end up involved in a number of shenanigans with the Vatican spy master. And there may or may not be a mafia subplot towards the end. So there are shenanigans that ensue.
Spoiler alert.
So not just romance.
It's
adventure
not really
too.
just romance. It's sort of in the weird intersection between like rom-com and there's just a little bit of thriller element in it. So especially in like the last third of the book. So I had a little.
You're trying to create your own genre. You're just
It's
like
more
Diana
of a-
Gabaldon, you're trying to make
Here we go.
booksellers not know where to shelve it.
See, the thing is because I
Romance,
work for a book
fiction,
publisher.
That's right.
It was, the genre crossing ended up because I could not let myself stick with a superficial plot. I feel like so many romances, it's just the romance and you don't actually get like who the people are and like their lives outside of dating or whatever. And I was like, no, like they're both living full lives and what we're seeing is what happens when those lives intersect. And so I was like, there's no way I'm just staying top level with this. It's just not my way to do that.
I love that. That seems to be,
Well, I have to,
just a little more, we'll call it, I'll say popular these days for our characters when we read books or movies or anything else, not to be just perfect and everything's amazing. So I love the idea that you gave them issues, we'll call it.
Oh, yeah.
Things,
that's
just
the way to say
real
it.
people. You made them real people.
Yeah, and that's
Yes.
really what I wanted to do is kind of ask the question like what does a good Catholic relationship look like? What does it look like when you have two young adults who are both committed to their faith and committed to trying to be the best people they can? Like what does that kind of a romance look like? And no, they're absolutely not perfect. And like Elena's dealing with all sorts of mental health issues and Benedict has daddy issues, which he admits. It's like, that's just the way that life goes and the way that relationships go. So.
yeah. Rebecca, you said you spent a semester in Rome. Where did you live when you went there?
So actually, where I've set Elena's apartment is right next door to where I lived. So at the semester that I was there, we had there were 30 or so of us, 35, and we actually rented apartments in the backside of a hotel. So there was like the hotel, and then behind it was like all these little apartments. It was actually right across the street from the entrance to the Vatican museums. So my commute to class was actually like around the walls of Vatican City, across St. Peter's Square, and the number of times you get stopped to take somebody's picture on your way to class in the morning. It was kind of funny. I became very good at like, how fast can I take this tourist shot so I'm not late for class?
Oh my gosh.
See, I
never
really did
think
get that
about.
sense.
Mm,
You described it perfectly. And
Thank you.
my middle daughter did a semester in Rome, but she was with the University of Dallas, and their campus is outside of Rome.
Right.
You have to take the subway and then the bus and walk to the campus. So she didn't have that similar of an experience where she was right there in downtown. But I could tell from just the first chapter that you had spent a good amount of time there, because I could picture myself being there.
Nice.
I went in October of 21, and we just went back at the end of June this year.
I'm so
and
jealous
we stayed
about
in the
your
same
Italy
place.
trip.
Yeah.
Oh.
We stayed in that same place, which is right there, maybe 2 or 3 blocks away from the like right between the Vatican Museum entrance and the St. Peter's Square entrance.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
so,
that's actually where that is. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just amazing, because it was like, oh my gosh. And when you talked about, and I'm not giving spoilers because this is the first chapter, y'all.
You can't miss it.
You're on the dome. And my daughter Cameron and I, we climbed the dome this trip. That was like my bucket list. I had to climb the dome.
I tell people, if you only have a couple days in Rome, if there's one thing you should do, it would be climb the dome of St. Peter's, because you just get it's such a unique experience in many ways. But it's also just so immersive, because you're in the architecture, like you're literally inside the dome of St. Peter's, and the walls are starting to curve around you, and it's slightly claustrophobic. But then you get
that rope.
Oh my gosh, yes. And then but then you just get the view of the entirety of Rome, and it's such like, I seriously do think it's one of the top experiences you should do if you only have a couple days in Rome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yes,
I've only been to the airport in Rome, so I can't.
Oh man.
One day.
I've already said Lisa and I, we need to take a sister trip to Rome and
Yes.
do like a sister trip.
I am secretly hoping that someday I will have enough fans that I can do like a little Swiss Guard trip to Rome, because it would just be so much fun.
It would be.
I'm never gonna get there, but it's good to dream.
Oh, but never say never.
Well, I guess.
But I do like, one of the things I wanted to do in this was like, it is a tour of Rome. Like Lisa, you will. It's one of the things that I've heard from a lot of people, is like they feel like they're there, and that's really what I wanted to do, was just like bring you into the heart of Rome alongside the characters.
I love that.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
And I guess to build that fan base, to get your walking tour of Swiss Guard, are you planning another book?
Yes. Sorry, I just like choked on my own breath. Yes. So book 1 follows Elena and Benny, and book 2 will follow Rihanna and Oscar, who you meet in this book. They're the best friends, and their story is going to be very different. They aren't. They're coming from a place of having kind of an on again, off again romance, and they're both coming in. Oscar's deeply in love with Rihanna, and Rihanna has other priorities. So theirs is going to be very different. And then the third book is actually going to follow Oscar's little brother as he starts in the Swiss Guards. So we'll get to see kind of the life of a recruit beginning in the Swiss Guards, and then Elena's younger sister, who is an archaeology student working in Pompeii. So that one's going to be, I'm excited about both of those. The middle one is going to be interesting because part of it's going to take place in Venice, and I have not actually been to Venice. So I'm going to be doing a lot of online research. I'd love to do a live research tour, but I'll at least be doing a lot of online research.
Ooh, sounds like you might be shopping airfare.
Oh, I wish.
Okay, so now I'm curious. How did you do the research on the Swiss Guards? Where did you get the information about what it's like to be a Swiss Guard? Because
that was
you don't meet any of the qualifications.
No, I really don't. No. So that was actually one of the most fun parts of writing this. So I actually had met Andreas Widmer and his wife, Shelley, and they are amazing people. He was a former Swiss Guard under JP2, and she was actually a college student in Rome when they met. So I accidentally set Benny and Elena's first date in the same place that Andreas and Shelley had their first date. Did not plan that. That was awesome. But once I had kind of a rough draft, I emailed Shelley and I was like, look, I have so many questions. Can I just like send you a list of questions? And from what developed from there was not just answers, but also some friendship. I've gotten the chance to hear a lot of fun stories about Swiss Guard life.
Aww.
So I really did my best to make sure it was as accurate as it could get. It was fun realizing that I had actually guessed a lot of things correctly. there are some things where, like the fact that the barracks are 2-person rooms. I had just sort of shoved Benny and Oscar in a room because I needed a conversation to happen. And then it turns out they are actually 2-person room barracks, and therefore it worked really well. But found out a lot of stuff that you can't find on the internet through Andreas and Shelley sharing their experiences. So that was super fun.
Well, you've already sent me to Google Maps once, just in the first 5 or 6 chapters, because you have Benny going into the cemetery.
Yes.
Is it the Teutonic cemetery?
Yeah, the Teutonic or the German cemetery. It's called a couple different things.
Right. And I was like, where is that? Because we walked around, but we didn't go in the gardens or anything. And I Google mapped it and realized that we were on the other side of the wall.
Yes. And the way that I discovered the German cemetery, it was like my second or third day in Rome. And I had a paper map and I was wandering around and I saw this thing that said German cemetery. And not knowing any better as a, dumb little 20-year-old college student, I just walked up to the Swiss Guard and was like, hey, German cemetery? And he was like, yeah, it's over there. And I just asked the next guard, German cemetery? And he pointed me over there. And that's how I discovered it, because I was like, if I had gone back later, even in the semester, I would have been too nervous to talk to the Swiss Guards, or I would have done some research like, are you sure I can get in there first? And then I'll go talk to them. But I was like, oh, let's just go see. And it's just this beautiful little area. It's just an old, I want to say it's well over 500 years old. Probably more than that. And it's just this beautiful little enclosed cemetery / garden. And especially coming from a very rural campus and then being in Rome where it's not rural at all. And there's like 2 green spots in the entire downtown area. I was like, there's trees and grass. This is cool. So I had to set a scene there, and it became like you'll run across the German cemetery a couple times later in the book, which will be fun.
Well, if memory serves, you've already had Elena kind of stumble into it in a very similar manner to the way you just described.
Maybe just a little bit.
That you do always hear write what you know, right?
Exactly. And you sort of have to build on that. Write what you know, and then make up the rest as you go along.
That's right.
It's the second half of that quote we don't tell you.
Write what you wish had happened when you were there.
There you go.
I do like that you're so familiar with the setting.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, go ahead, Shelley.
No, I was going to say, Lisa touched on this briefly, but I do love that you've made the characters so real. And did you do that on purpose?
Yeah, that was really, again, it was sort of not just wanting to avoid the like 1 or 2 dimensional characters, but also, a little bit of challenge for my editor to continue fleshing out the characters. But really what I wanted to show was that, we enter into a relationship as a whole person. And there's often kind of this fallacy with, I think, young adult women, single women especially, where it's like, as soon as I find the right guy, my problems are all going to go away. And it's somehow going to solve all my issues. And I definitely fell into that before I was married. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about is like, what does it actually look like when you bring your whole self into a relationship of any kind, either friendship or a romantic relationship? Because, it's important to realize you can't hide the problems from the other person. And you're not meant to sort them out on your own. You're meant to sort them out together. And that was really what I wanted to challenge my characters to do. Because there's a section in the book where Elena's PTSD is majorly re-triggered, and she tries to basically work through it herself and not let Benedict into the situation. And he's like, I just want to help you. And so it was really like, I wanted to challenge my characters and challenge me as I was writing to make them whole people. And definitely the editor helped kind of kick me in the pants on that a little bit too. She was like, Elena needs a hobby. Like, Elena needs something besides angst. And I'm like, okay, fine. She can go bake.
I love that. So that seems like such a departure from a lot of what you would consider romance novels. So what have you heard from like young women who are reading the book? Do they connect with that? Are they wishing it was more light and fluffy? You know, like what?
No,
what do they tell you?
Yeah, well, as Shelley's, I have a podcast with Shelley's daughter coming out shortly, so we'll get more of that. No, really, it's resonating with people because, again, I think we do, like, as much as we enjoy the fluff, we do realize that it's only fluff and it's only showing part of the story. And I think we really, and my readers have definitely expressed this, really enjoyed seeing that bigger picture. Because it's more real, because it's more connected to like what they actually want to experience and what they hope for. And so no, I've gotten a lot of, I've actually gotten one review on Goodreads that said the book was too cheesy. And I'm totally fine with that because it's a rom-com and it gets cheesy at times.
You're kind of like, check, I did hit that mark.
Exactly. Yeah. The other, 3-star review I got said it wasn't Catholic enough. I'm still trying to puzzle out that one. Believe me, I've had so many conversations with friends about that review. By and large, people are really resonating with it, which is great. And honestly, like getting that feedback has been so fun and so inspiring of like, okay, it's like my weird little story, my silly little story has actually like made a difference for people. So that's been great.
Awesome. I love that.
It's very fresh. That's what I think I like about it is it's fresh. And I read a lot of Catholic fiction, having now gotten involved more in reading different Catholic Writers Guild authors and getting to know them. But this one, I don't know if it was the setting or how real the character was from a current day perspective with dealing with their weight, dealing with needing to have a counseling session on Zoom, dealing with PTSD and cyber stalking. I haven't gotten to all of Benny's stuff yet, but
that's okay.
What Elena's
there's
going
enough
through.
Stuff with Elena first. They all have enough stuff to deal with. Poor things.
Are things we hear from our own young adults and their friends, and so that's why you don't often see those in rom-com books.
Right.
So,
and that was especially with the mental health stuff. There's a part of writing Elena's story that was me kind of working out my own understanding of mental health, mental illness, and how that affects relationships. And so it was, I definitely tortured my character far more than I've been tortured, because that's part of the fun of being an author is you get to torture your characters. But it was really kind of working out that like, yeah, mental health, mental illness, these are real things, and how does that affect a character's life? So.
Well, I can't wait for my young adult daughters to read it because I hear from them all the time. I'm somebody who enjoys the Hallmark, genre movies and stuff. But what I hear from my daughters is, Mom, that just sets you up for not understanding how it is in the dating world or what it's really like out there or relationships. Right. And me, having been married for so long, like I just look at it as enjoyable fluff. I don't have to worry about I feel like there's so much bad in the world. Like I don't have to worry about stuff. It's like, oh, okay, but from their perspective, being younger and just starting out and, in early in the relationships and stuff like that, it really bothers them. So I'm anxious for them to read this because I think they would really enjoy what you've developed here. Real characters, real issues. And I assume, I have not read it, I assume the girl gets the guy in the end.
It's a romance. It's a romance. Yes, definitely went with the genre convention on that one. I'm not
Shelley, was that a spoiler?
No, I don't consider that a spoiler. I would be disappointed if there wasn't some really almost a meet cute ending, like a cutesy sappy kind of, oh, we got pulled apart by some misunderstanding.
Oh, I hate those movies.
Look, flip, and we've come back together.
No, believe
No.
me, that no, that's not how this goes.
Okay,
That's
good.
not how this goes.
Okay, good.
I actually deliberately pushed back against the genre convention of the breakup
Okay.
because I was like, I don't like it. Just doesn't feel right. It's not right for like these are two characters who are honestly trying to do their best by the other person, and so like yeah, they definitely have their challenges and they definitely get close. You know, not even close to, but definitely like at a point where it's like something's not working here. But I was like, I'm not doing the stupid breakup, get back together at the last minute, and all of a sudden we kiss and everything's perfect.
Yeah.
Like we go from a kiss to the wedding. I'm like, but they're not doing that.
She gives up her whole life and like moves to the guy and like all those movies. Yeah.
Fresh new take. No, she already moved there. She's in Rome
No,
because she
yeah.
got a job.
No, I know, but you know, it's like, oh, I realized my whole life was wrong, but if I just give away everything and go with you, it'll all be perfect.
It'll be perfect. It's like somehow it's taking the go sell everything that you have and give it to the poor. Somehow it's like twisting, like, no, it's not, we're not doing that for the guy. We're doing that for Christ. No, and writing this book was like, you know, there was a lot of leaning into the expectations with romance and like definitely wanting to give readers what they enjoy and what they want, but at the same time kind of pushing back against it in some ways that I think really made the book better. That was fun.
Okay, Rebecca, you've mentioned your editor pushing back or arguing with you or forcing you to do stuff in the book. And I want to note that in your day job, you are a nonfiction acquisitions editor. So how weird was it to kind of be on the flip side? I mean, to be on the other side of the desk from what you do for your day job?
Trying to manage my facial expressions here. No. No, I'm kidding.
I know you love your job. I know you're very good at your job, but this is fiction.
Yes, so
it's a different press.
It was very different press, different experience. So it was really good for me. And I say that in the way of, you know, it's good for a kid to eat their broccoli sometimes. No, honestly, it was great because I had to take a lot of the advice I've given my own authors and given it to them in such a way of, just work on it a little bit at a time. And, you know, I'm here to help you out. And, you know, I have so much advice. You know, I've been doing this for like 6 years now. And so much advice that I've given my authors, but never had to take myself. And so I had to go through the existential crisis of everything is awful because there's so many things my editor wants me to fix and it's terrible. And why did I even try to write this? I had to go through all of that. And then I had to talk to myself the way that I talk to my authors. And that was a learning experience.
Does it make you more empathetic now to your clients who are
a little bit? But also at the same time, I can say, I've done it. Therefore, I know you can do it.
It also, I assume, sets you up for the next book. You have a
so
better
much
understanding of how it's going to go.
Oh gosh, yes. I learned so much from the editorial process. So Marissa and Karen were my two editors at Chrism, and each of them taught me so much. And honestly, like the rough draft that I sent to them, oh man, I hope the next rough draft I send them is worlds better because the amount of work they had to do to like just straighten me out on some things. Kudos to both of them. Because they both brought different strengths to it, and really challenged me to step outside my comfort zone and actually think through. And it was such a fun challenge because it's one thing to draft the novel, and it's another thing to say, okay, I have to put a chapter in here that fulfills these needs for the book.
Okay.
But also has to read like it was an organic part of the story and I meant it there from the beginning. And to work through that and realize like, no, I actually managed to do that. Like there's a few chapters in there that were added in the second round of edits. Wow. And I'm really proud of myself for that because it was hard.
Because we can't tell.
Exactly. Yeah. I hope you can't tell. And it's really helping as far as I write the next manuscript. I could already tell, like I can already see things that actually I can hear my editor's voices inside my head. That's really how it's going is that I have a little Karen on my shoulder telling me not to do things and a little Marissa also hanging out there.
That's great.
Leave a few loose ends in case they make me put in a chapter here and we change a bit of tweak at the end.
Yeah, yeah.
That's fantastic.
And I have Marissa, on the other shoulder going, tell me more. Tell me more. Like, tell me more about this situation. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll tell you more.
Show, don't tell.
Oh my gosh. Oh, so much of that.
Show, don't tell.
Yeah.
I need to just have that. And it's in like the live, laugh, love lettering. I just need show, don't tell on like a large sign on my bedroom wall.
Right there wherever you write. That's what you do. Yeah.
Show, don't tell.
Mm-hmm. So,
well, I need it tattooed on my arm or something. I'm kidding, Mom. I'm never going to take it. It's fine.
That's awesome.
My mother is going to listen to this, but if she does, just in case, I'm not actually doing that.
She absolutely should. Our mother listens to it.
Hi, Shelly and Lisa's mom.
Yep. Back in the day, she was our first and only fan, but now we have more.
Look, if mom's not supporting you, there's other challenges.
Big problems. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I know it's a book written about a young adult woman, but who is your target audience? Like, who would enjoy this book? So who should buy the book?
Who should buy the book? Anyone who likes watching Hallmark movies. Anyone who doesn't like watching Hallmark movies because they're too fluffy, but secretly actually really does enjoy romance because it's a great escape from life. Basically, anyone who enjoys a good book. No, I am smarter than that, and I will tell you who my target audience is, which is usually women between the ages of 18 and 65, maybe.
We're younger than that, but okay.
I was gonna go with like 90, and then I realized that I don't know if my grandmother would have read this, so I'm not even gonna.
It has to be large print. No.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's definitely
Kindle. It's on the Kindle. You can make it big.
But it's really, target audience is pretty much women because we're the ones who enjoy romance. Mm-hmm. But what I'm really wanting to share or draw the reader into is just that idea of the lived Catholic romance, like the love story that is rooted in our faith, which is of course the truest love story. It's the story of Christ on the cross, and that's if our romance isn't coming from that, if our love isn't coming from that, then it's not fulfilling, our desire for that. So that's definitely kind of where I've gone with this book, is wanting to just kind of give a fun escape into Rome, but also just to really be able to delight in the fun of a good love story, because they are fun and they're a great escape and they're a great, just like thing to sit down. And this is a beach read. I will freely admit this is a beach read. Never did I imagine that my debut novel would be a beach read, but I am not ashamed of it anymore.
Or it could be a transcontinental, or what do you call it, intercontinental flight, maybe to Fiumicino Airport.
Oh, that's I think that would be a good fit. Yeah. With a few snacks from the galley, in between for between chapters.
I could do that. And what about non-Catholics? What about, we have a lot of our listeners or watchers or whatever.
That's actually been really fun. So because Chrism is an imprint under Whitefire, which is a Christian publisher, I've actually had a lot of Christian non-Catholic readers. And that has been really fun because I honestly wasn't so sure how it was going to be received. But what I've heard a lot from my readers is that they're just, the lived experience of faith on the page, and that my characters, are unabashedly, talking to God and praying, and just focused on living a strong Christian life. That seems to have really resonated with all of my readers. And I think some have definitely expressed being intrigued by kind of this look into Rome and Vatican City, which of course isn't so much like a destination for a lot of Christians like it is for Catholics. But I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from my non-Catholic readers. So I personally think it's a great read. But I have really enjoyed kind of getting that feedback from people who I wasn't sure exactly how it would resonate. But it seems to have really been something that people have enjoyed.
Good.
So
that's great.
That's
great
great
to hear.
All of your listeners are my target audience.
I think so. Except for maybe our dad, when our dad listens.
Well, maybe not your dad.
Our dad would read it. I promise you, Dad would read it.
Yeah.
Hey, I would really actually love to hear some male feedback.
Okay.
One of these days, I'll get a male reader. It's fine. Oh, but I think older too. If you enjoy sitting down with just a fun, engaging read, it's a fit. I mean, if you don't like romance, that you might not enjoy it as much. It's definitely unabashedly a romance / rom-com. So if you don't like that genre,
It's a relationship book.
exactly, it's a love story.
Yeah.
Love story, and it's honestly, if you like travel, it's a good fit.
Here we go.
It's so like, honestly, Rome is almost its own character in this story.
I was about to say
So
that
much.
if you didn't know you wanted to go to Rome, if you were like, so-and-so wants me to go to Rome, I don't know. This is a good introduction to, what is there to do in Rome?
Okay, so you're going to sell me on it, right? I'm going to read this, and then suddenly I'm going to be like, Shelley, we're going to Rome.
Exactly.
Like, I'm going to leave the airport and we go to Rome.
Yes.
We're going to climb the dome. We're gonna go. I don't know. Does she go to Scala Santa? We're gonna go climb up
she
stairs
does.
on
She
her
goes
knees.
to Scala Santa. Yep. In fact, you're probably close to that chapter. as you're quite, yeah. The Lateran, the Scala Santa, and Santa Croce. She does all three of those in a chapter with Rihanna. So
that's fantastic.
Awesome. I said, this is my love letter to Rome for sure.
It is. It really is.
So much fun.
Rebecca, I did not prep you adequately in that we always ask our guests 2 questions.
Okay.
So surprise.
And surprise on your head.
Talking as my mom will tell you.
The first one is, do you have a sister? And if yes, do you have a sister story that you can share with us? Because we're sisters and we always tell stories on each other. So,
as
but something you'd be okay sharing.
Yeah, for sure. Something they'd be okay with.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'm the youngest of 3 girls. So I have 2 big sisters. They're 7.5 and 10 years older than me. So definitely was, I was the little one. And so it's been an interesting dynamic. But the story that comes to mind, because of course we've gone through so many different life experiences at very different times than the other person. And so, we've had phases where we've kind of known each other better or not as much. Actually, the story that comes to mind is my sisters and I, because of course they were so much older than me, would often be tasked driving me to things. Driving me to band practice, driving me to orchestra practice, whatever. And so honestly, some of my most fond memories are them blasting whatever music they were into at the time. Which in the case of one sister was I swear the only 3 CDs she had at one point, sorry, Sarah, it was Josh Groban, Phantom of the Opera, and Les Mis. And I heard those 3 on repeat so many times. I still do not adequately appreciate Phantom of the Opera because I just can't. Too much. If finally, as a young adult, I did start to appreciate Les Mis again. Josh Groban, I have like 3 songs and that's it, because again, too much. But a lot of my base playlist, like on Spotify, I have like a 10-hour playlist, and a lot of those songs are songs that my big sisters introduced me to, usually while we were driving down the road to one thing or another and singing along with at the top of our lungs. So that is, yeah. And that actually does tie to the next book, because same sister who was hooked on Josh Groban and Broadway also ended up getting hooked on country music and introducing me to various country artists. And Oscar, who is Bunny's best friend, may or may not in the next book develop a minor obsession with American country music.
Oh, that's
because
fun.
he's a farm boy. And he just starts to enjoy the angst in American country music. So there are going to be some songs in that book that are directly lifted from my teenage years with my big sister.
Awesome. Oh, that is so fun. I love that.
Yeah. I should probably get her to send me some more song recommendations.
I actually have never seen Phantom of the Opera, and I can sing every single song on the soundtrack for the exact same reason. Not because of a sister, but a college roommate, nonstop the whole time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I can sing every single one of them. Yeah. Probably with all the parts, too. Yeah. But it also means that with Les Mis, I can't listen to any other recording than whatever edition my sister had. Yes. Like, that is the Les Mis in my head.
That's me too. Because when I was in high school, I was obsessed with Les Mis, and for sure.
Yep.
I even
think
saw
And it
hers
was
is
our
like
dad's. Yeah.
our dad
Oh,
loves Les
nice.
Mis. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the one I know is like some anniversary, like 25th anniversary cast
Mhm.
edition or something. So like it's those voices. It can
Yeah.
only ever be those voices, and it's all my sister Sarah's fault.
That's awesome.
I think that's pretty good, though.
Yeah.
So the second thing we always ask our guests,
Oh, I
we'd ask
thought
our
that was the
listeners
two
too,
questions.
but
No, that was just
no,
one.
the second, sorry.
There's more. There's more.
The second
Okay,
thing
There's
is,
more.
okay, I'm ready.
No,
This
this
one's
is
easy.
the last one.
We promise.
last
I'm
one.
ready.
Favorite saint or current go-to saint?
Oh gosh, Anthony of Padua. So it's really weird because I'm a Dominican, like I am a lay Dominican,
Mhm.
but about 10 years ago, Anthony of Padua started adopting me. And he would just show up in random places and just sort of make himself known. And he's become like my weird saint big brother, and he's such a pain in the rear. I love him, but he's a pain because when I was growing up, he would not help me find anything unless I prayed 3 Hail Marys to the Blessed Mother. And it was like, Mom, make St. Anthony help me find the thing. And then all of a sudden, as a young adult, he just decided that he was going to start helping me. But he would help me in such a way that it was very obvious that it was him. Nothing I was doing, nothing I had thought of. No, had to be him. Like that he had to get all the credit. The number of times that he has pulled that one on me is. And then there's my best friend's fish story with St. Anthony, and that. He's such a punk. I love him. He's my really annoying big brother. I love him dearly. And then I finally realized like why he adopted me, and it's because he was a Franciscan, but he was a preacher. And of course, as a Dominican, we're the order of preachers, and so I think that's why the connection. But I may or may not have in the back of my head another book project, which is a religious sister, a Dominican sister, former CIA, who ends up solving crimes with the help of St. Anthony. She just receives random apparitions of St. Anthony because he likes helping her solve crimes.
I would read that.
It's
totally
in process.
I love mystery
That's
books, so I would read that.
I also would read it if it ever gets written.
You need to make her from Porto Real, Sicily, because St. Anthony of Padua is the patron saint of Porto Real, Sicily.
How
We're
did
this
I know
summer.
Yeah,
That's
go back
so
and listen
cool.
to the last 2 episodes.
I will. That's awesome. I didn't know that because he's gotten adopted by the Italians. He's originally Portuguese, but the Italians have just decided that he's theirs. And he just does that. He just adopts people.
So this is the tagline for this episode. You ready? So this episode, the tagline is going to be, why does Rebecca Martin call St. Anthony of Padua a punk?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Listen in.
We can do a hashtag.
Do we have time for me to tell you the fish story? Because it's a really good story. Okay.
Yeah,
so
go for it.
My best friend had a little tank of fish. And at one point she was cleaning out the tank. So she put the fish in a smaller container, went downstairs to clean out the tank, came back upstairs and was missing a fish. So she's texting me. Her roommates are helping her look. She's looking all around the desk, the floor, all of it, trying to figure out the fish. But she texts me and she's like, pray to St. Anthony because I lost my fish. It's a little tiny tropical fish. And so I'm like, okay, St. Anthony, like, I don't know what's going on here, but help. She finally gives up on finding the fish because she just can't find the fish. It's been like 15 minutes. At this point, she's like, the fish is dead anyway. It's fine. I'm just, whatever. I'll find it at some point. Sits back down at her desk, looks down on the floor, and there's the fish, still alive and functioning. So she pops it back in the bowl and it ends up living for like another 2 years. This is what I mean when I say that St. Anthony makes it very obvious that he's the one working. And he does at this point, like if my friends just know, like, I've lost something, ask Rebecca to pray to St. Anthony because he'll help. He's just a punk. Love him. Such a pain.
That's awesome.
A little more difficult.
So,
Never
next time I lose
would
something.
I be the person that says, never in a million years would I be the person that says a saint is a punk. I was just
Shelley's like,
I'm sorry, I have to be perfect.
No, he's at this point, he's like, and I only have sisters, right? So he's the annoying big brother. And he has stepped into that role with all the energy that he probably brought to everything during life. And just decided that his job is to make sure that I'm aware that he's the one helping me.
We have a brother, so I can kind of, and I see how my son is with my daughter. So yeah, I can totally get that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's Anthony. That's Tony.
Okay, so next time I lose something, you're getting a message.
Go for it. I don't know why
Since
he
you've got a direct line there.
It'll probably end up with a weird story.
That's fine.
But,
That's fine.
He'll get it done.
That's fantastic. Rebecca, tell us one last time where people can follow you and where they can find your book.
Absolutely. So RebeccaWMartin.com is where you can find out more about me, and also links to my Instagram and my Facebook page. And I also have a Substack called Virtuous Fluff, because that's what I write. It is fluff and it is virtuous. At least it's trying to be. So yeah, you can find more about me there. And then I also write children's books. So I have Meet Sister Mary Margaret, which came out last year. And I have the sequel to that called Father Drew, What Do You Do? Which is coming out next year. And it's all about a priest, the life of a priest.
Aww.
So yeah.
That's great.
Very nice.
All right. Lisa, anything else?
Nope.
Well, thank you, ladies, for having me on.
All right.
This was great. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, we had a blast. That's
Okay.
the funny thing about it. We're just having a blast. It's like this, like we're just sitting with I was going to say a cup of coffee or whatever, enjoying a conversation.
Caffeine in my
Caffeine. I've got sparkling water. I'm kind of boring, but yeah. But thank you for coming. And I have not read the book, obviously, so that's on my to-do list. And I am going on a little vacation here very soon. And so
right.
I will be taking it with me.
It's a good vacation read. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know and leave a review on Amazon.
I will. And Goodreads.
And Goodreads.
All right.
That's
So we have to say goodbye.
That's Shelley's look to tell me to say
Stop
goodbye.
the recording.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We hope you enjoyed this, and we hope you run out on your computer or in a bookstore, wherever, and buy Rebecca's book. And then give a review and let us know how you enjoyed it. All right. Thanks, ladies. We'll see you. I lost my mouse. We'll see you next time.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.